It's Sunday, and guess who's back? Well, we're here to get it right. Mainly not me, but our guest. Last week on Get It Right, we had Jabu, who got himself 3,500 kwacha because he got 7 questions right. What's going to happen today? Welcome to the show. My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya. You can follow me on Twitter at Buyoya Jonah and on Instagram with the same handle. On the show today, we have quite an interesting contender. He stands a chance to walk away with 5,000 kwacha because that's the maximum balance that you can walk away with on Get It Right. But for him to walk away with that amount of money, he's got to get all the questions right. Unfortunately, if he misses only one, then he gets 500 kwacha less. And for every wrong answer given, 500 kwacha is taken off the balance. So, who is it going to be? Is it going to be you? Well, unfortunately not today, because we already have a contender. Let's find out a little bit about today's contender on Get It Right.
Alfred Myers is a hip-hop fan who's so much a fan that he's a rapper himself and believes he knows quite a lot of stuff. Once went for the wrong job interview and got the job. Loves reading, is a fan of sports, has won the same quiz 3 different times. But it's today his day to get it right.
There we have it. That's our contender for today's episode of Get It Right. Let's get to see him and see if he's going to walk away with 5,000 kwacha. Welcome, Alfred Myers, onto the show. Your first time on the show and everyone's first time, except me. Welcome. You can take a seat.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling nervous a bit.
A bit nervous?
A bit nervous.
10 questions is what you've got. And how are you feeling about that?
10 questions. Should be okay. It's a good number.
It's a good number.
A very good number.
Well, if you get all of them right, then you're going to walk away with 5,000 kwacha.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah?
That's a lot.
Do you think you are capable of getting all these questions right?
I'll try my best. I'll try not to embarrass myself.
Try not to embarrass yourself. Well, let's talk a little bit about yourself, because I'm thinking it's going to be a bit easy for you to do this because you have participated in the Media Hub quiz, which happens on Twitter, and you've won it 3 times, isn't it?
A record 3 times.
A record 3 times because it's only been there for 4 times. And the only time you didn't win it was once.
Yes.
Does that increase your street cred and sort of increase your chances of winning today?
Street cred, yes, sort of in the media group. The chances of winning today, I think this is a bit different, so I'm not so sure about that. Like for the first time, I'm not 100% confident.
One other thing is a lot of the people that are into quizzing and all of that, like to play quizzes, always say that they prefer just straightforward answers as opposed to multiple choice questions. Which one do you think is better for you?
Multiple choice, because sometimes you might forget something, but when it comes up on the options, then you're like, oh, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, I'm ready to get on. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm geared.
Geared.
Yeah.
Let's bring on the first question on today's episode of Get It Right and see if Alfred is going to walk away with 5,000 kwacha. Where was Dr. Kenneth Kaunda born? And there's 4 options here. The first option is Lilongwe. Is it Chinsali? Is it Kasama? Or is it Blantyre? So there's 4 options for you. Which one of these is the correct answer?
I'm going to go with Chinsali. I know that he's got some Malawian roots, but I don't think he was born that side. His father must have been a missionary in Chinsali.
Well, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda was born in Chinsali at Lubwa Mission, and you're absolutely right. So you've got yourself the very first question right. How are you feeling?
500, yeah.
Yeah. So you're settling in all right.
Yes.
I mean, it would have been bad if the first question was gotten wrong.
Can't even tell what would have happened.
What would have happened?
The confidence.
Let's move straight to the second question. Let's try to see what the next question is going to be. What is the world's largest bird of prey? What is the world's largest bird of prey? Is it the Indian condor? Is it the the lapper-faced vulture? Is it the Eurasian eagle owl? Is it the Marshall eagle?
So it's a bit tricky because I'm not so good with animal questions.
The world's largest bird of prey.
Bird of prey.
What is
I'll
your
go
answer?
with A, the Andean condor, but it's a guess, a very wild guess.
You go with A, Indian condor. Well, that is the correct answer.
Oh.
The Andean condor is the world's largest bird of prey. It's got a wingspan of up to 3.2 meters.
Wow.
And it's got a length of about 100, at least 100 centimeters. So it's quite a big bird, and it comes from the vulture family. It's found in South America.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Quite a
I'll
huge
read
bird.
up on that.
Yeah, but it seems your guessing game is also quite on.
For now, yeah,
For now.
for now.
Are we ready to move on to the next question?
Sure thing.
Let's move on to the next question and find out, if you get it right, what is the capital of Cameroon? The four options here. The first option is Bamenda. Second option is Douala. Is it Giahwa? Or is it D, Yaoundé?
I'm kind of stuck between Douala and Yaoundé. But
Why
I'll-
is that? Douala and Yaoundé.
They all sound quite West African. But I'll go with Yaoundé because of the accent on the E.
Yaoundé. Okay. What is the capital of Cameroon? Is it Yaoundé? Yes, it is. That is the correct answer. You still have 5,000 kwacha in the bank.
Okay.
All of these four are actually cities, towns in Cameroon. Bamenda, Douala, Giahwa, and Yaoundé. But Yaoundé happens to be the capital, and Douala is one of the cities with the largest population in the country.
All right, interesting.
So far, you've got yourself a stack at 5,000 kwacha. There's still 5,000 kwacha in the bank. Interesting that you've gotten all these questions right. You have got a lot of interesting things about yourself, and one of them is you were once a rapper. Are you still going that direction?
I still write. I don't go in studio anymore, or at least I haven't been for the past 3-4 years. I think last time I was there was in 2018. But I still write in my free time when I'm taking a walk. Yeah, I'm still writing rhymes.
Still writing rhymes. You know, one interesting thing is a lot of people think that people that get into music or soccer or sports are not smart. And that is just not true, because when you look at hip hop, it actually takes a lot of smartness for you to be able to come up with the rhymes and all of that.
Exactly.
How are you feeling to be on the quiz and being a rapper?
All right, it's an honor to be on the quiz. Considering it's not my first quiz, this past few months, I've been on another Twitter quiz apart from the mid-jab quiz and everything. So it's quite interesting, and it's something that I'm into. So it's a pleasure.
Are you expecting to get a lot of questions on the show related to numbers? Because you are generally good at math, at least that's what I've gathered. And based on that, would you rather get a lot of math questions on the quiz tonight?
Not entirely math questions, but if it's something analytical, yeah, I'll be okay with that. Yeah.
Analytics is something you would love to see. Well, I hope you're gonna get a chance for all of that as the
hope so
quiz
too.
goes. But otherwise, so far so good. You still have 5,000 kwacha in the bank. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we move on with the rest of the questions. There's 7 more questions that have to be answered on the show tonight, and Alfred Myers is simply amazing today. He has had the best attempts at the question so far and stays with 5,000 kwacha. So after the break, we find out if he can crack the rest of the questions. Welcome back to Get It Right. Thank you for staying tuned to the show. If you'd like to be one of the contenders on the show, go straight to our Twitter account at Diamond TV Zambia, or you can send us a WhatsApp message on the number on your screen and get in touch with us and just, tell us if you're able to do it. We'll run you through a brief test, and if you get it right, then you find your way to get it right and stand a chance of walking away with 5,000 kwacha. Our guest on the show today is Alfred Myers. He is, an interesting guy at the moment, focusing on school, and that is Zika, and he is, it's accounting for 70% of the things that you're doing at the moment. And that explains, I think, a lot of the knowledge that you've got. But also a quiz guy, because he participates in a lot of quiz, and he is the only other winner of the Media Hub quiz, which he's won 3 times out of 4 times. And today, he's here to prove himself, if he's the man that he claims to be. But away from that, one interesting thing about you also, Alfred, is that you've done something pretty bold that a lot of people wouldn't do. And I can see today you're not hiding it. And you've got a piercing and you've got a tattoo as well, something that you are afraid might be a bit of stereotype because, you know, some people are not exactly fans of. But where did that carriage come from?
Actually don't know. I just woke up one day and just did it. But my mom doesn't like it because every time she sees the piercings, she's like, oh, take them off, you know. So it's a bit of a struggle with her.
Why do you think she doesn't like it?
She thinks it's for women.
Where did your interest in piercings come from?
Just fashion in general. Yeah, just fashion.
Is it something you always wanted to have?
Not really always, but just something that I've picked up. Yeah. Is
that the last piercing?
For now, yes, because I was trying to get a nose piercing, but that might be a little bit too much.
Well, there's only one way to find out. We'll come back to find out if you will be bold enough to get yourself that nose piercing.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question. We're getting to question number 4 on today's quiz. Who was Zambia's first vice president? There's 4 questions, 4 answers that are options. Is it A, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe? Is it B, Ronald Penza? Is it C, Alexander Chikwanda? Is it D, Reuben Kamanga? You've got 4 options on who Zambia's first vice president was. I think this one should be a bit easy for you. No? This one is easy for everyone.
Yeah, it might be easy for everyone. We've done the history of Zambia's independence and how things picked up from there. I think Alexander Chikwanda was the first Minister of Finance. Reuben Kamanga, can't remember much about him. Don't know much about Penza either. So I'd go with Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe A.
Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, Zambia's first vice president. Is that the correct answer? No. Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe was the second vice president. It's actually Reuben Kamanga. He was the first vice president of Zambia. Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe became Zambia's vice president. That should have been in 1970s or 1967.
Okay.
And he was the second vice president. This man is the man. Yeah, I mean, you can't know everything. But you're absolutely right about Alexander Chikwanda. He was the first he was a minister, not the first finance minister. He was a minister of finance under President Michael Sata. And then Ronald Penza was a politician that died in the 1980s. Should have been 1990.
Okay.
When he died, a legendary Zambian politician.
Yeah, I've been schooled there.
Well, we are 500 kwacha less so far. That brings us to 4,500 kwacha.
Okay.
How are you feeling about that?
I feel sad. I feel bad. I was trying to get a perfect score.
Should have gotten a perfect score. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We attempt the next question?
Sure thing.
Let's move on to the next question and find out if he's the man he claims to be. Alfred, we're still in Zambia. Which was Zambia's first capital city? Was it Livingston? Was it Kalomo? Was it Lusaka? Was it Fort Jameson, which is now Chipata?
Zambia's first capital city at independence?
Before.
I'll go with Kalomo.
You go with Kalomo?
Yeah.
Any reason? Any specific reason?
Not really, but if it's not Lusaka, it has to be Kalomo. And you've said before independence, so if it was at independence, I'd have gone with Lusaka, but before independence, I'd go with Kalomo.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Zambia's first capital city In 1908 was Cologne. And actually, if we had said after independence and you said Lusaka, you'd have gotten it wrong, because that was Livingston. Should have been 1937. And then Fort Jameson has never been the capital of Zambia.
Okay.
Still intact at 4,500 kwacha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's still pretty good, isn't it?
Very, very good.
Yeah, so we're going to take our last question for this round. So we move on to our last question for this round. That's going to be question number 6. Which planet in our solar system is known as the red planet? This one should be pretty easy as well for you. Is it A, Venus? Is it B, Saturn? Is it C, Mars? Or is it Mercury?
It's Mars, because of the landscape.
Absolutely, that's the correct answer. Mars is the red planet. It's known as the red planet, and that is typically because of the minerals around there. That's got to be the iron oxide or the rust that makes the environment kind of red. Certainly isn't any of these others, and I think that's one of the easiest questions that you got.
Exactly.
on tonight's show. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling nice so far. 6 questions, 5 correct. That's a pretty good return.
That's a pretty good return. I've got to agree with you. But do you think these questions are easier than the usual questions that you get?
No, not really. The multiple choice is helping.
The multiple choice is helping. Well, that's a good thing, because for some people, they claim that the multiple choice does not work for them, but it seems to work for you.
Yeah, it's working very fine for me. So, I don't know, people are different, but for me, this is it.
You've got a blog. I want us to talk about that, Alfred. You've got a blog, you write here and there.
Yeah.
And that's on Blogspot, if I'm not right?
Yeah, Blogspot.
Right.
So, the blog is Blogspot. The link is alfredmoyo.blogspot.com. Yeah.
What do you write about?
Basically, just things that I'm interested in. When I started, I wanted it to be more of just me giving youth commentary. That's how I started. But as time progresses, I'm doing more of things that I'm interested in. I'm doing music reviews there. I'll branch out to like movie reviews, and eventually just content. You know, traveling, lifestyle, fashion.
And it's from that at some point you went for the wrong job interview because you thought they were talking about an editor related to writing. Tell us a bit about that.
So one of my friends from Media Hub, she posted on her Facebook saying that she wants an editor, so somebody interested can just, you know, hit her up. So I called her, asked her if I can come through, and she said I can come through. So I went that side, only to find that the job that they advertised was actually a video editor and not an editor in writing. So it was quite something, but I didn't tell them I don't know how to edit videos, because, you know, at that point the only experience you have is like Viva Video or some stuff like that. So I had to like learn on the job very quickly, just observing what the other guys are doing. Yeah, I think I lasted for about 6 months. That was the entire season of the shoot. And eventually I was doing everything on my own, so I learned on the job.
You lasted 6 months job on training?
Yeah.
Goodness.
The entire season.
The entire season?
Yeah.
And they never found out that you didn't know what you were doing?
No. I
Until
think
now.
I became quite an expert until they watched this episode.
Wow. So now you can film and edit. Or can you film, or you can just edit?
I can film and edit. I know how to operate the cameras, the angles, even the editing. I learned that on the job.
Please just make sure that you don't allow Alfred near a hospital, you know? Because he's just gonna be there like, just bring me anything, and just try to.
Yeah, you've watched that clip from, is it Mr. Bean, where he went into a hospital and there was an operation, some guy had been shot, then he just goes in there, removes the bullet, and they start clapping for him.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened to you, I think, but it took a bit of time. I mean, 6 months. Well, that's an interesting story. Sure. After this break, we're going to come back and try to finish the rest of the questions. We've got 4 questions that you have to answer, and you've got to get them right for you to walk away with the maximum amount of money that you have at the moment, which is 4,500 kwacha. Are you ready?
Very much.
We'll be back after this break, and when we come back, we get into the rest of the questions on Get It Right. Our guest is Alfred Moyo, who is an interesting character. Got himself a job that he wasn't qualified for at that time, that he got a job, a rapper, still rapping, and is also a blogger. Welcome back to Get It Right. My name is Jonah. Thank you for watching the show today. We're asking questions to Alfred Moyo, who's our contender on the show. If you want to be a part of it, go straight to our Twitter account at Diamond TV Zambia, or send us a WhatsApp message and tell us your interest. We ask you a few questions. If you're eligible, you're the next man or woman to be on the show and stand a chance to walk away with $5,000. Unfortunately, Alfred is not walking away with $5,000, but he might just part away with almost as much, because so far, so good. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Ready to hit the ground running and we move on?
Yeah, let's move on, please.
Let's get into it. We move on to the next question. This is question number 7. Which TV show was the first to be allowed to film inside a Zambian courtroom? Which TV show was the first to be allowed to film inside a Zambian courtroom? Is it Mpali? Is it Zuba? Is it Banja? Is it loose ends?
This is probably the hardest question that I've got so far.
Can you recognize any of these?
I watched Mpali, I watched Zuba, watched a bit of Banja.
That was back in the day.
Back in the day, around the late 2000s. I would go with loose ends. I remember it used to air on ZNBC. It must have been a K5000 production or a Copper Build production. So it being the earliest, I'll just go with it. I'm not so sure about this question. So loose ends.
You settle for loose ends.
Yes.
Which TV show was the first to be allowed to film inside a Zambian courtroom? It is not loose ends. It's actually Zuba. That was the first TV show to be allowed to film. I mean, I know the rationale behind it was that loose ends and Banja were from back in the day. Mpali came on after Zuba.
Yes.
So you would think maybe this was done back in the day. But unfortunately, only this show had the opportunity. But after that, a lot of other shows have been able to film.
That's progress.
That makes us lose money, actually, because you're now at 4,000 kwacha. Progress for Zuba and the film industry, but not progress for you.
Yeah, money lost, but an education gained.
Yeah, okay, that's a way to look at it. You know, a glass half full,
Yeah,
not half empty.
it's a win-win situation. Yeah.
Win-win situation. Okay, I like that. Let's move on to the next question and see if you get it right. What is the smallest bird in the world? Do you have any idea what this is?
No idea. Any more questions?
Is it A, finches? Is it B, the cisticola? Is it C, the bee hummingbird? Is it D, Costa's hummingbird?
This one I'll go with B. No, not B. Let me go with C, because it says bee hummingbird. I think a bee is quite small, so.
Okay.
but this is a wild guess.
Is it the finches, cisticola, bee hummingbird, or Costa's hummingbird? And your choice of answer
C.
is C. The world's smallest bird is the bee hummingbird. It weighs about 2 grams.
Wow.
That's how small it is, and it's found only in Cuba. Yeah, but this is a group of small birds. Actually, all of them are pretty small. But I think close to this bee hummingbird must be the Costa's hummingbird, because the hummingbirds are generally pretty small birds.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're still intact at 4,000 kwacha.
4,000.
The multiple choice really is working.
It's working, because that was a lucky guess.
Okay, so we move on to our 9th question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Who invented the computer? Do you know what the answer to this is?
I know the answer to this.
Okay, so Charles Babbage, Alexander Fleming, Alexander Graham Bell, or Henry Fisher? Which one is the correct answer?
It's Charles Babbage.
That's absolutely correct. That's the correct answer. You got that one right. Alexander Fleming is known to have invented penicillin.
Penicillin, yeah.
And Alexander Graham Bell,
That's the telephone.
the telephone. And Henry Fischel is known to have invented school examinations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're all inventors, but in their own right. Congratulations, you've gotten yourself these questions right. The worst thing that could happen to you is getting the last question wrong, because so far you are guaranteed of 3,500 kwacha. Only if you get the next question right will you walk away with 4,000 kwacha. Do you think you got this?
Yeah, so far so good. 7 out of 9. That's as good as Bill did, yeah? Jabu.
So far. So
Yeah.
far. That's as good as Jabu did, because he got 7 questions out of 10.
Yeah.
But you've got 7 questions out of 9.
Out of
Why
9.
are you talking about Bill? Jabu, is he the guy to beat?
Definitely is the guy to beat, and I won't get short if I get the same as him. At least, at the very least, that's as good as him. So, yeah.
So we are almost at the end, and we've got to take a look at our final question. Are you ready for us to find out?
Yes, I'm ready for it.
The moment of truth on whether or not you're better than Jabu. Let's go and take a look at our final question. You said you are a fan of sports, so how many players are there in a rugby league team? Do you know the answer to this?
Rugby league team.
Well, the options, is it 10? Is it 11? Is it 30? Or is it 40? How many players are there in a rugby league team? 10, 11, 14, 13. Which one is your choice of answer? Which one is the correct answer?
I have to guess this one. So, last time I encountered such a question, there was 15 as an option, which is the correct answer then. I'm told they've got different types of series, or I don't know what they call them in rugby. So, I'll guess 10.
10. How many players are there in a rugby league team? Choice of answer is 10. Is that the correct answer? That is not the correct answer. The correct answer is 13. So you're right. How many league players are there in a rugby league team? 13. And in a rugby union team? 15.
Oh.
Well, that's quite an interesting turnout, and it turns out you and Jau might just be on the same level. All of you getting 7 questions right.
Yes, quite interesting because it sets up the mid-jab quiz to stop me.
Well, congratulations to you. Huge congratulations. You walk away with 3,500 kwacha from the Get It Right quiz. And, well, I guess we are yet to find out if there's anybody going to beat that record in the episodes to come.
Yeah, I'll be definitely watching the episodes, just trying to check who does that.
Are you impressed with your performance today?
Quite impressed because I was taking a look at questions, just going through questions on websites and everything, and none of the questions I was looking at actually came through. So I'm quite impressed with how you organized it, the question setup and everything, and just it being more about Zambia. That was great.
Great, thank you so much for coming through. Congratulations. Alfred Myers is our contender for today. He walks away with 3,500 kwacha. No one has been able to get more than that on this show. Will you be the next guy to get it right? Well, join us on the next episode of the show, and it might just be you. My name is Dingindava Jonah Buyoya. We're out.